morning. So it's Saturday and we're actually going away on Friday. Like really early in the morning next Friday. So we're gonna try, and we might have to buy a couple things. We did buy a couple things yesterday from the discounter outlet store. But we're gonna try really hard to use up what we have. So I'm gonna show you some of the things that we're making over this next week to kind of help us use up what we have so that we can go away on our trip. So I'm just getting breakfast ready. I'll show you what we're making. So my wife is mostly gluten-free. So we've got this gluten-free pancake mix. And it calls for a cup of the mix and then a tablespoon of melted butter, an egg, and 3/4 of a cup of milk. So I'm just using 2% milk. You can use whatever milk you have. I'm sure it works with almond milk and that kind of stuff too. We have an egg, and I've got some butter that's going into the microwave to melt. And so we're only doing one serving, the 1 cup, and we'll each have half. Okay, so my batter is all mixed up. I have the pan on. I spritzed a little bit of oil into the pan. And once that heats up a bit, I'm going to use this measuring cup to try and do this in 4 equal pancakes. Okay, so here are some pancakes. They did come out nice size, 4 of them. I'm also sauteing up some eggs. And these are technically fried eggs, but I only use a spritz of oil in the pan. They flipped perfectly, which was great. The eggs flipped a little less perfectly, but they're still good. The yolks didn't break. All right, so these are done. My wife uses this Mrs. Butterworth's no sugar added syrup. I'm just using regular maple syrup, and I'm going to put that on. I do it like as I'm eating it because I don't like them soggy. You might notice there's no like fruit or veggies on my plate. I can't eat like this is going to be enough food for me right now, and I'm going to be getting tons of fruits and veggies throughout the day. So I'll show you what I'm eating as the day goes on, and you'll see it doesn't matter that I'm not getting them for breakfast. Hey guys, so I just went to our little East End mini mart that has things on sale sometimes, and I got 2 things that aren't like super healthy, but they were cheap, and my wife really likes these cheese sticks. These were $4.99 for the big bag. And this was also a big bag, the mozzarella and jalapeno. These were on for $2. So I ended up, I really like these ones. And I only eat, like, a serving is 50 grams. I only eat 25 grams or less at a time. And I'll show you what else I got. The rest is all healthy. So they had some pre-cut veggies and stuff. So these peppers I got for $2.50. Green and orange peppers. They had these bags of cauliflower for only $1.25. So they only had 2 bags left, and I got both of them because we can freeze one. And that's a really good price for cauliflower. This was on for $1.49. It's just some cabbage, so I got that. It was technically a coleslaw mix, but I'll use it as cabbage. The lemons were not on sale. They were 89 cents, so they were 10 cents cheaper than what I thought they would be. I thought they were going to be 99 cents. And I like using these in my sparkling water, and I also have a recipe tonight that calls for a little bit of lemon juice. And I do have limes, but lemon is what it calls for. So I will use a wedge of lemon for it. These celery sticks were $1.50. They're pre-cut, so I got those. These raspberries were on for $2, so I got a package of raspberries, and same with the blueberry or blackberries rather, and these were $2 as well. So I got a package of those. I got a tomato, and I forgot, I got a little Kool-Aid. We put our own Splenda in there. So this was 79 cents, and just to have like a different drink from time to time. This bacon was on sale. It's cheap bacon, like anyway, but it was still on sale for $3.99. Bacon is very expensive around here. It can be up to like $8 or $9 for a package of bacon, and we've been craving bacon, so I got that. And we were almost out of cheese, so I got this cheese, medium cheddar. This was like $5 or something like that. And the cucumber was 79 cents. This was on sale. We definitely need a cucumber this week. I was really excited. So all of this stuff altogether cost $35. So it was really a good price. Whatever we don't use before our vacation will freeze, but we will be using most of this week. Hey guys, so I'm just getting ready for lunch. I opened up a can of chickpeas and I drained and rinsed them. I put half the can in this bowl and I'm gonna make like a tuna chickpea mash. So I'm gonna mash these I'm gonna try with a fork. If it doesn't work the way that I want it to, I might pulse it in the food processor, and I'll show you what I'm doing once I get these kind of mashed a little bit. Okay, so for the sauce, I've got about a tablespoon of reduced fat mayonnaise in there, half a tablespoon of this lime juice we got from the Food Rescue, and I just put in 1/4 teaspoon of this ranch seasoning, just to, I don't know, it was open in the fridge for a while, and I'm just trying to use a little bit of it up. So I'm just going to stir this up, and I'll tell you what's coming next. Okay, so I just sliced up a green onion and added that in. Sometimes I use white onion, but this is what I had, so this is what I used. We got the green onions from the same store that we got everything else, but we got it a couple days ago for like 25 cents. That was really good. I'm just going to add in some dill. I'm not measuring it. I'm just shaking it in, and some salt and pepper to taste. That's going in, and then I'm going to stir it in my dressing, and then I'll be back. All right, so it's all stirred up. I did try to remove as many of the skins from the chickpeas that I could, but I didn't get them all. It was really hard to get them all. So this is it. It smells really good. I have 7 of these Breton crackers left. I got these from my mom before she went on her trip. So we had those in our pantry. And they are 90 calories for 4 crackers. I'm going to have 7 of them. And I've sliced up a few cucumbers to put on there as well. So I'll put like the cracker, some of this mix, and the cucumber on top. And I'll probably end up eating some of this mix like just by the spoon, because I am going to eat this all for lunch. So here they are, all finished. There's still 4 more that I'm going to make, but this is what I made up so far. Okay, so I just finished lunch. It was delicious. I'm going to make a couple of smoothies, one for me and one for my wife, and they're going to be different. So I'll show you what they both look like, just so you can see a couple different smoothies. One of them is a lot more plain than the other, but anyway, I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm making my wife's first. Hers is literally just fresh banana, like 1 banana, and some frozen blueberries. I don't measure them, I just fill them in until I feel like there's enough. And she likes almond milk in hers, so I'm going to, this almond milk we got from the discount store. It was $2.99. Like, it is possible to find it cheaper sometimes when it's on sale, but that's not a bad price. So I've got some milk in there. I'm gonna blend that up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so my wife's smoothie is all done. And that's it. It's just 3 ingredients. We don't add in any sweetener. The banana is usually sweet enough for us, so you can add in whatever you like for sweetener if you want to add something. Okay, so I'm starting with frozen banana and frozen strawberry slices. I'm going to put in some of my 2% milk, and I'm going to try to blend that up a little bit before I add in the rest. It's too close to the top. Okay, so I only just started it. It's enough for me to get this clementine is not frozen, so I'm putting that in there. And now I'm going to finish making the smoothie, and I'll show you what it looks like in a moment. So my smoothie is a little thick, so pouring it might not be quite as successful. So I think I'm going to not do that on camera, but you can see what it looks like. So it is just banana, strawberry, and that clementine, and I've already tasted it. It is delicious. Hey guys, so I'm just getting ready for supper. It's not quite supper time. Like I am not actually hungry for supper yet. It's only like 4:15 and I ate at like 1, so I'm actually still pretty full, but I need to start getting supper ready because there's a few steps to it and we have to leave here by like 5:30. So to pick up our little sister, we're taking her to a little local wrestling match tonight. So anyway, I'm making salmon cakes with cottage cheese tzatziki and some potatoes. Anyway, I'll show you how I'm doing everything. Okay, so this salmon has been buried in the freezer for months. So I took it out and I thawed it, and I'm not going to put any seasoning on it or anything like that. And I'm just cooking it in the pan. I sprayed the pan with sunflower oil just a little bit. I don't want it like really oily. And I'm just cooking it and then flaking it. And yeah, I'll show you that part when I get to it. But for now, I'm just putting it in the pan. Okay, so with these salmon cakes, I am making cottage cheese tzatziki. So I started with a chunk of cucumber that was probably about, it was about a quarter of a cucumber, we'll say that. And I just put it through the grater, like you can hand grate it. I use the grater in my food processor. And then I like squeezed it in my hands to, oh, I still have some on me. I squeeze it in my hands to wring it out and to try and dry it as much as possible. I'm going to get the cottage cheese part ready now. Okay, so in my magic bullet, I have about half a cup of cottage cheese. I have half a teaspoon of dill. I have half a clove of garlic and a salt and pepper to taste. I'm also going to squeeze in a quarter of a lemon. And my fish is done. I'm just waiting for it to cool down. I'm going to squeeze in a quarter of a lemon in here and I'm going to blend it. And then I'm going to pour it into the bowl with my cucumber. Okay, so it blended up nicely. It doesn't need to go in very long. And I'm just going to stir this around. And once this is stirred around, I'm going to let it, the point was to make it like before I cook everything else so that it has time to sit and the flavors have time to mingle. Okay, so I just have my bowl and I'm going to put the salmon in the bowl. So these salmons had skin on them. I'm going to remove the skin. I'm just going to flake up the salmon into the bowl to start the salmon cakes. Okay, so I have my salmon all chopped up, flaked, I guess is the word. And I put in a quarter of these gluten-free breadcrumbs. You can use whatever you want. You can also use a quarter cup of Quick Oats. But I wanted to use breadcrumbs today. For 3 tablespoons, which is a quarter cup, there's 100 calories in it, and I'll be having half of those because this will hopefully make 4 cakes, and I'll be eating 2. I'm also going to add this large egg to the mix, and I'm going to start chopping up a little bit of diced onion to add in there as well. Okay, so I got 2 pearl onions. I got the package of pearl onions from our food rescue. I'm going to chop those up and dice them up very small. And I'm going to save the skins for soup scraps, and I'm just going to add those to the bowl. All right, so this is ready to get mixed. I've got the onion in there, the egg, the breadcrumbs. It also called for a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of paprika, and salt and pepper to taste. Okay, so I'm just letting that sit for a minute, and while I'm doing that, I am going to wash off. I'm not going to peel these. These are new potatoes, and they're pretty small, so I'm making 4. And I'm going to cook these in the microwave, so I'm just going to dice them, but not like, I'll show you when they're ready. Okay, so as you can see, I just roughly chopped them. I put some olive oil on top, and I topped them with some garlic salt and some Italian herbs, and I'm just going to stir them around. I cover this with wax paper, and I put it into the microwave for 6 to 8 minutes. Okay, so overall, the cakes fared fairly well. Only one fell apart, and I fed it to my wife so I could take the pretty video. But I mean, it's still going to taste the same. I got the potatoes done. I just reheated these green beans. They're from a can. We had them in the fridge, so we want to get those eaten up. And I put the tzatziki right on top of the cakes, and I'm just going to eat that now. And yeah. All right, so it's the next morning, and we're just having some breakfast. So I'm making half of the package of bacon to split between the two of us. I got this bread from the Food Rescue app. I'm just having one slice of this bread. I'm putting it in the toaster to toast it up. And I'm going to be cooking up 2 eggs as well. All right, so here's my breakfast. I got a quarter of the package of bacon. We just cut the slices in half and cooked them as half slices. I've got some raspberries and blackberries and the 2 eggs on my toast, which I don't know, my toaster must have been turned up because I think it burned a little bit. But instead of butter, I just used like a little bit of ketchup on the bread. And that is my breakfast. Okay, it is lunchtime. My wife is making these shrimp roll-up things. We didn't have a ton of shrimp left, so we were planning on having 2 each, but it looks like we're probably only going to have 1 each. And so I'm going to have 6 pieces of shrimp, and I'll show you here what's going to happen, how we're going to make these. Okay, so we're each having one of these Promise gluten-free tortilla shells. These were in our freezer. They were on sale before we stopped going to like the stores and stuff. We did get these on sale for a really good price from Walmart. And they are only 90 calories for a tortilla shell, so I'm having one of those. Okay, so I'm using the leftover cottage cheese tzatziki that we made yesterday. And I've got some green onion sliced up. And I've got a little bit of medium cheddar cheese grated. So I'm going to mix up the shrimp and the onion into the tzatziki. And I'm going to put that onto my tortilla. Okay, so I have my mixture on here. And I'm just going to top it with the cheese like this. And then I'm going to roll them up. And I'll show you what they look like when they're all rolled up. And then I'm going to put them in the air fryer or the pan. I haven't decided which, to kind of warm them up and crisp them up. All right, so it is done. I'll cut into this and kind of show you what it looks like. But it probably looks very similar to what it looked like before it was cooked. But for the vegetables, I have cauliflower, green pepper, and cucumber. And I was going to make a ranch dressing, but I just decided to use a calorie-wise Catalina instead. And I also measured out 25 grams of these mozzarella jalapeno cheese sticks. Okay, there it is. I'm really excited to try this. So this was my wife Rhonda's idea. And yeah, it smells delicious. All right, so I'm making a chia pudding, which is going to go in the fridge for a little while. I'm not going to have this probably until tonight. I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of chia seeds. And I'm going to use, I don't usually buy this kind of milk, the 3.25, but our church needed to get rid of it. So I took it, and I'm going to use half a cup of this milk. I'm also going to use a tablespoon of cocoa and a tablespoon of this peanut butter powder. And I'm using half a teaspoon of vanilla. And this is something I've never used before in chia pudding. But I'm going to be using, just to try it, half a teaspoon of this instant coffee. So we'll see how that goes. I also need to use a sweetener of some kind, and I'll let you know how much of that I'm going to be using in just a moment here. So the sweetener I usually use and stuff like this is maple syrup. You can use whatever you like, honey, sugar, sweetener, whatever. But I like using real maple syrup. And I'll use 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. So I'll show you what it looks like once it's all combined before it's pudding. All right, so this is my beginnings of my pudding. I'll put this in the fridge for until tonight or even tomorrow morning, depending on when I eat it. And it should be nice and thick by the time I go for it. Hey guys, so it's supper time and I'm gonna start cooking. We're making this honey garlic chicken rice dish thing with lots of veggies. So I'll show you how we're going to make that. So I'm starting with 1 cup of parboiled rice. That's just what we had in the cupboard. And I put in 2 cups of water, and I'm going to get that on the stove. And I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in the pan and start cutting up some veggies. All right, so this is the vegetable mixture I'm going to be using. I'm going to cut up this onion, and I may only use half of it, but we will see. I save the scraps for my soup scrap bag in the freezer. I have this bag of broccoli and cauliflower that has been frozen. I got this from the outlet discounter store that we go to for $2.50. I'll probably use like a third of this bag or half of that bag. Got these mushrooms from the same store. They were $2.99, which isn't a great price for mushrooms, but I needed mushrooms, and that's where we got them. And then these I cut and froze before we went away on our last vacation. So I'm going to use some red and green pepper, emphasis on the red, because my wife isn't a fan of green. And I do have some garlic out as well. I'll be saving the scraps from this too. And this will be going in as like part of the honey garlic sauce. All right, so I did only use half the onion. I diced it up and I have it in the pan. And I'm about to add these mushrooms that I sliced. There are 3 good sized mushrooms here. Okay, so those are cooking, and I actually am using about half of the bag of the broccoli and cauliflower. I'm adding that in, and I'm going to add in some of my peppers now too. So as you can see, I did try to stick mostly with the red pepper. A few green ones did get in there. I like green pepper, but my wife does not. So I'm just going to... those are frozen still, so they need to thaw in the pan and soften. I also have 3 cloves of garlic, but as you can see, like 1 is like full size and then this is really small. So you may only want to use 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to mince those. I squish them with the back of the spoon and then I cut them up really as small as I can get them. With, I don't use a paring knife for that. I use a large knife. It's easier to get in. This is the chicken that I'm using. It is frozen. I'm going to pour that in now as well. I had that out for a little while to kind of thaw, but so this chicken we got from the discount store, the same place that we got the bagged down broccoli and cauliflower, and it too was bagged down. We got it for $5.99, and we were using about half the bag in this meal. And it is just seasoned chicken crumble. It's not breaded or anything like that. And so I'm just adding that to the pan now. So I had to switch to my wok. My pan just was not big enough. So I've got it coming back up to a simmer here. I did add in a tiny bit more oil just to keep it from sticking. And I'm going to start making the sauce now. Okay, so I got my honey in the dish. And I'm using these little restaurant packets that I got. We got them, I didn't get them from a restaurant. We got them from the liquidation store for 10 cents each. But I'm using 2 of those. And I'm using this light soy sauce. And I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of that. I've got my garlic and some white vinegar. I'm putting in a teaspoon of vinegar. And if it needs it, I'll put in 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. I'm not sure if it's going to need it or not, but we shall see. Okay, so I stirred up the sauce. I did add a little bit of water in there. And the rice is going to cut, like, it's a little runny down there. The rice will, like, soak up some of the sauce when it's ready. Because I'm stirring the rice right in here. And yeah, I'm just going to stir that, keep it simmering, keep it cooking until the rice is done. The rice isn't quite ready yet, but it is getting there. And once that's done, I'm going to add the rice to the wok. I should say I'm not adding all of the rice to the wok. So it was 1 cup of dried rice, which is going to yield about 2 cups of cooked rice. And I'll only be putting about half of that in the wok. So my wife and I can each have about half a cup of rice with the rest of the stuff. Okay, so I've added my cup of rice and I'm just stirring it in, and this is just about done. Okay, so this is half of the wok full of stuff. It smells delicious. The sauce smells just like you get out of like the bottle. Like, it smells really good. So I'm just gonna eat this for supper. Hey guys, so the rice actually yielded about like 3 cups of rice, but I did only use a cup. Like, I measured out a cup for the dinner that we had tonight, and then we each had half of that. So, but there's a lot of rice left over, so I'll be able to eat that tomorrow or the next day, whenever. I also wanted to say that we did taste the chia pudding. It is almost done actually, but it was really like, I had 2 teaspoons of maple syrup in there, and it was like, if you like dark chocolate, it would have been really good. However, we like milk chocolate, so I just put in another approximately 2 teaspoons of maple syrup in each one, and stirred it up, and it's much more to my liking, but it was still sweet the other way if you like it a little bitter. So yeah, I'll show you that. We'll probably have that later tonight. I'm full right now. I don't want any dessert. I don't want anything else, but we'll probably have that later tonight. Okay, so here is my pudding. I'm gonna have that for a snack, and that'll be the last thing I have today.